The Bering Sea is a place of legend, a vast expanse of icy water where storms rise without warning and waves can tower like cliffs above the deck of a vessel. Out here, men, machines, and the ocean lock in a constant struggle. And at the center of it all is one of the ocean's most coveted treasures, the mighty king crab. On board a steel-hulled crabber pushing out of Dutch Harbor, Alaska, a crew braces for another high-stakes season. The ship is armed with the tools of modern fishing, massive hydraulic cranes, steel pots that weigh hundreds of pounds, and now robotic arms designed to ease the crushing labor that once broke countless backs. The mission is simple but unforgiving. Locate the crabs, set the pots, and haul them up before the weather, or the sea swallows the chance of success. The pots themselves are feats of engineering. Imagine steel frames taller than a man reinforced with heavy mesh, each one capable of trapping dozens of crabs if placed correctly. Baited with the irresistible scent of herring, squid, or fish heads, they descend to the ocean floor, where the king crabs roam sometimes hundreds of feet beneath the surface. The waiting game begins. While the pots soak on the seafloor, the crew keeps watch on sonar and charts adjusting course against unpredictable currents. Hours can pass with only the sound of engines humming and wind howling across the bow. Then comes the moment of truth hauling day. The winches groan as steel cables tighten, pulling thousands of pounds of weight from the ocean depths. The first pot breaks the surface water streaming down its sides, and the deck erupts in anticipation. When the trap is swung aboard and the door opens, the catch spills out like living treasure. Massive red king crabs, spiked shells glistening in the cold air, scrambled across the steel deck. Some stretch their legs wide like shields, others clatter together in heaps, but all of them represent food, profit, and survival. Each crab is quickly grabbed, measured, and sorted. Undersized crabs and egg-bearing females are returned to the sea. Only the giants are kept their thick legs promising the prized meat that will eventually travel across the world to restaurants and markets. What once took brute force and endless repetition has changed with robotics. Now mechanical arms equipped with sensors help separate the crabs more efficiently, reducing strain on the crew and increasing speed. The machines never tire, never wince from a claw's pinch, and never lose accuracy. Yet the human touch remains. Experienced fishermen still make the calls, judging the size, checking for help, ensuring that sustainability rules are followed. It's a partnership of grit and innovation, man and machine, working together to wrestle a living from one of the most unforgiving seas on Earth. Life on the Bering Sea is never routine. One moment the deck is alive, with shouting metal clanging and the heavy slam of pots landing on steel. The next moment, silence falls except for the hiss of the wind and the crash of waves. Each haul is a gamble. Sometimes the pots come up overflowing crabs packed so tightly that their spiny shells press against each other. Other times they surface nearly empty, reminding everyone that the ocean does not give up its riches easily. The crew has no choice but to reset, rebait, and try again, trusting in instinct, charts, and the experience that only years at sea can provide. The work is brutal. Temperatures often plunge below freezing, and seawater splashes across the deck, turning everything slick with ice. Men's hands crack despite gloves, shoulders ache from heaving hundreds of pounds of gear, and exhaustion gnaws at them long before the shift is over. In earlier decades, this relentless pace wore crews down quickly, but today robotic systems ease part of the burden. Automated winches haul the pots and mechanical lifters swing them across the deck with precision. Even so, there is no machine that can take away the sting of freezing wind or the constant risk of a rogue wave sweeping across the rail. Sorting the crabs is both science and survival. Every crab is measured against strict regulations. Only males of a legal size can be kept. Females carrying eggs are returned to ensure the next generation survives. This process preserves the balance of the fishery, but it also forces fishermen to make difficult choices when the catch is light. Robots now assist in measuring and sorting, but final judgment always falls to the crew. They are the stewards of the stock, and they know that reckless harvesting would mean disaster not only for the crabs, but for their own way of life. Each king crab has a story etched into its shell. Some have barnacles clinging to their spines, signs of years spent wandering the sea floor. Others are bright and clean, freshly molted and hungry. The largest can weigh more than 20 pounds, their legs stretching out like armored spears. When the crew handles one of these giants, there is a mixture of awe and respect. These are the ocean's warriors, survivors of a harsh world where only the strongest endure. To haul them aboard is to witness a fragment of the Bering Sea's ancient power. The life cycle of this king crab is as remarkable as the fishery itself. It begins in the cold dark of winter, when females release tens of thousands of eggs that cling beneath their abdomen. These eggs drift with the currents until tiny larvae emerge planktonic and fragile, floating near the surface. For weeks they are at the mercy of tides and predators, but those that survive molt repeatedly, each time growing stronger. As they mature, they sink to the seafloor, where they take on the armor and spiny legs that will define their adult lives. Juvenile crabs scatter across the ocean bottom, constantly on the move, foraging on clams, small fish, and even scraps left behind by larger predators. Danger surrounds them. Cod, halibut, and octopus are all eager to snatch up a young crab. Only a fraction will survive long enough to harden into the thick-shelled adults that can withstand the rigors of the Bering Sea. For the survivors, the journey doesn't end there. Mature crabs undertake long migrations, sometimes traveling miles each season to reach deeper waters or favorable spawning grounds. These migrations form the backbone of the commercial fishery, as fleets follow the crabs across their shifting domain. On the deck of a vessel, the cycle of harvest and respect continues. The crew knows each legal-sized male crab represents years of survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The sorting tables become a place where tradition meets technology, human eyes guided by robotic arms, data logged with precision, while the crew works with speed. Every undersized crab and every female carrying eggs is released back into the icy depths. It is a system designed not just to catch crabs today, but to ensure there will be crabs tomorrow. Life aboard the vessel is relentless. Shifts blur together in an endless rhythm of setting pots, hauling gear, and sorting catch. Meals are quick but hearty soups, stews, and sometimes even fresh crab when the crew can spare one. Sleep comes in stolen hours, squeezed between storms and work. Yet despite the hardship, camaraderie thrives. Fishermen swap stories, laugh at old jokes, and share quiet moments of awe when the northern lights ripple across the night sky. In those rare instants, the endless danger of the sea fades, and what remains is the beauty of a world few ever witness firsthand. Beyond the decks of the crab boats and the cold spray of the Bering Sea lies the vast marketplace that makes king crab one of the most valuable catches in the world. These crabs are not simply seafood. They are a global delicacy, commanding premium prices in fine restaurants and luxury markets from Tokyo to New York. A single large red king crab can weigh up to 20 pounds, and its legs alone can retail for hundreds of dollars. The high value stems from limited supply, the extreme difficulty of harvesting, and the rich, buttery flavor of the meat that has made it famous. The United States remains one of the largest exporters of king crab, but demand stretches far beyond domestic borders. Japan, China, and South Korea are major importers willing to pay top dollar for live or freshly processed crab. In Europe, the Scandinavian countries maintain their own fisheries, but also rely on imports to satisfy demand during peak holiday seasons. Each shipment is a logistical ballet. Crabs are either flash frozen within hours of being caught or kept alive in specialized tanks flown across continents to reach high-end markets while maintaining pristine quality. This international appetite has given rise to a global economy centered on crab. Entire coastal towns in Alaska depend on the seasonal harvest, with revenue pouring into local businesses as processing plants and shipping companies. The ripple effect extends to shipbuilders, gear suppliers, cold storage operators, and exporters who orchestrate the journey from ocean floor to dinner plate. Prices fluctuate with supply, weather conditions, and global trade policies, creating both opportunity and risk for fishing families who stake their livelihoods on each season. Sustainability is now a critical part of this market story. Regulations strictly limit the number of crabs that can be harvested with size restrictions, ensuring that juveniles and breeding females remain in the ocean. Scientific assessments guide quotas to prevent overfishing, protecting stocks for future generations. International treaties help to coordinate efforts across borders, especially in the North Pacific, where crab populations migrate between national waters. Balance between profit and preservation is delicate, but it is essential if the king crab is to remain both a thriving industry and an iconic dish on the world stage. For consumers enjoying a plate of steamed crab legs dipped in butter, it can be easy to forget the immense effort behind that meal. The frozen decks, the heavy pots, the sleepless nights, and the constant uncertainty of the sea. Yet every bite carries the weight of that journey, connecting diners to the raw, relentless power of nature and the resilience of those who dare to work within it. Once the crabs make it from the deck to shore, the next stage of their journey begins inside massive processing facilities. Here, precision and speed are vital. Freshly caught king crabs arrive in refrigerated tanks or frozen blocks, depending on how they were handled at sea. Workers and automated systems immediately sort them once more, checking for quality, size, and overall condition. Any damaged or undersized crabs are rejected, ensuring only top-grade specimens move forward into the processing line. The cleaning phase begins with tanks of cold seawater that flush away debris and residue from the long haul. Conveyor belts move the crabs into cutting stations where highly skilled processors or robotic arms separate the legs and claws from the body. This step requires careful handling. Each leg is not only valuable, but must be preserved in pristine condition to meet strict international standards. The body sections are also harvested, yielding additional meat used in soups, crab cakes, or frozen packs for retail. Next comes preservation. Freezing technology is crucial in this stage. Rapid blast freezers chill crab meat to extremely low temperatures within minutes, locking in freshness and preventing ice crystals from damaging texture. In facilities catering to live markets, specialized holding tanks keep crabs alive. In oxygen-rich chilled seawater until they are flown directly to luxury restaurants in Tokyo or Seoul. This live shipment market is one of the most lucrative, with individual crabs fetching record-breaking prices during seasonal festivals. Packaging follows with remarkable efficiency. Automated weighing machines portion crab legs into standardized packs, half-pound, 1-pound, or bulk commercial quantities. Vacuum-sealed bags and reinforced boxes protect the delicate meat during shipping. Robotic arms stack the finished packages onto pallets, which are then wrapped and labeled for transport. Every box carries a code linking it to its harvest location, vessel, and date, ensuring traceability and compliance with food safety regulations. From there, the global supply chain takes over. Some shipments head to cold storage warehouses in Anchorage or Seattle before being loaded onto cargo planes bound for Asia. Others travel by refrigerated trucks across North America, supplying supermarkets and restaurants. By the time a diner cracks open a crab leg in New York, Paris, or Shanghai, the meat has been through a complex web of harvesting, inspection, freezing, packaging, and transportation, all within a matter of days. The processing stage illustrates not only the industrial scale of king crab fishing, but also the remarkable partnership of human skill and robotic innovation. Machines handle the heavy lifting and repetitive tasks, while human inspectors ensure quality and tradition are upheld. Together, they form a chain of efficiency that transforms a wild creature from the icy depths into one of the most prized meals on Earth.